Isn't that the soda poppin' mod? I actually don't know anything about that, but I remember like soda poppin' and Timthetatman were actually the two first streamers I watched. Geez, over 10 years ago now. Today's first video is by Timthetatman, but this was back when he had hair. It's like 10 years ago, and he's giving some tips on streaming. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it today. All right. Let's talk about some stuff, some tips and tricks.
Timthetatman bringing you.
I think he was muted for the first part.
Of a different video. This one's going to be more relaxed, more chilled. I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about streaming tips. Tips for upcoming streamers. Tips for people who want to become a streamer or don't really know where to begin. I'm going to make almost a two-set video. Not that he's nervous. One is just going to cover tips
you can
for people
tell,
who are currently streaming.
You can tell
as
there's
opposed
nerves.
to like, I'm going to make a separate video that helps people get stuff set up. Like
he wants to do it right, I guess, you know?
HD PVR or capture card, etc. So this video,
thank you for the YouTube
this
sub.
one's going to cover just tips, things that I personally did to sort of help me get to the position that I'm in today. And I try to say this all as modest and humble.
I'm like peeping the Taylor Swift poster
As possible. You guys know that I still consider myself a very average person, I guess you could say. I don't let anything go to my head. I don't think I'm Twitch famous or anything like that. I see all of you guys.
I think he said like his first setup, like he had
I try and do all of this with
literally a webcam taped to his wall.
That I'm going to give you guys firstly is
yes, this is Tim like when he first started. Like I would say not first start, but like maybe like
I don't know what's been going on with it.
Partner.
Like, if you just look at all of the streams that are there, like you can click that load more button infinite times. I feel like seriously I'm like load more. It's just like forever, and there's just pages of streamers. And so obviously I feel like now it's pretty demanding sort of market
more, but even then it felt like a lot.
That you're walking into if you're going to consider being a Twitch streamer. What I'm saying is there's a lot of competition out there as far as trying to get viewers. There's a ton. And so the first thing I'm going to say is know that and realize that. It's
weird seeing him without a sleeve over here as well. That's strange. I was failing in the numbers game of Twitch. No, I mean, it's easy to fall into it. I think at first, most people will rely on, like he's saying, like a small group of people who will be there to watch you. Not necessarily like out of charity, but I do think it's a good idea, especially when you're first starting, to have a good solid base to at least kind of lift you up off of the ground. That's always a good idea.
Here's a couple tips when you're starting out, okay? For one, now get your pencil and paper ready, okay? For one.
3 minutes in, starting the list now.
Don't invest too much at the start. I don't know if I've seen a couple of streamer videos.
This is still
tips.
true.
I don't know if anyone's really pointed this one out. I am a huge pusher on this. Don't go and drop $5,000 on a bunch of crazy stuff. Okay? You don't need this microphone. You don't need this webcam. You don't need some powerhouse computer. I don't even have a powerhouse computer, in all honesty. My computer was less than...
You don't need that microphone or that webcam, but please, as quickly as possible, get a mic and a webcam. You can survive off of a headset mic. You can survive off of a built-in camera on your phone. But please get one as soon as you can. Like that's the first thing. Don't worry about like emotes and overlay. Like don't stress that shit. Like it's not necessary.
So I tried it. And here we are, 1 million views later and 30,000 plus followers. Thank you. And it's a blast. It is. But it didn't just happen overnight.
There's an opposite end to what he's saying in that it won't all come at once. Rome wasn't built in a day. But if you are doing this, 12 months, 24 months, 3 to 5 years, and you're not seeing any changes, growth, and of course you're making adjustments and doing things differently, improving, and you're not seeing like growth, like true growth over time, then it may be time to reevaluate whether streaming is for you.
A third tip: ignore the viewer count. Okay? There's actually a way that you can turn your viewer count off. I would do that. I think there is. I'm pretty sure you can. Turn it off. The viewer count can ruin you, man. I swear. And I didn't do this. I still don't do this, but I think it's a good tip. If you're a person that struggles with viewers and it's like, oh, because here's the thing. If you're basing everything...
Turn off the viewer count is still a good tip. But also, my worst habit, and I'll call myself on it, is stop looking at chat. Stop looking at chat for something. Like for react.
I would stream. I would have 20. The next day I would stream. I'd only have 6. So I'm sitting here and you just got that big fat 6 looking at you right in the eye. And you're just like, hey, Tim, you remember when you had 20 viewers yesterday? Yeah, you only got 6 today. How's that make you feel? And it kind of does, dude.
I wish he did the voices still. He doesn't really do the voices anymore. He doesn't need to. I just miss the voices. He would always do voices. Like voices and like, I don't know. It's things of getting older. Like you turn 30 and these things happen. But I miss the voices. Those are
4. And this kind of ties in to
I hate when I have a higher viewer count and like
this is point 3
like,
the viewer count.
Oh, look at your view count.
A.
Stop, please.
Don't let the fact that viewers drop affect you. Like, it'll happen. Okay? So, like I said, I had 20 one day, next day 6. Well, that's not cool.
It's the same for the opposite. When the viewer count is high, don't be like, hey, a lot of viewers today. As the same as when there's not, and like people aren't chatting a whole bunch, but they're lurking. Being like, wow, it's quiet today. Oh my gosh. That's like as terrible as the person who's like at the end of the school day is like, hey teacher, you forgot to pick up the homework. Oh my god.
But then maybe a week from then I'll have 37, and then the day after that I'll have 10. Some people can't show up sometimes. Some people can't make it. So, people have lives, guys. You know what I'm saying? So I don't worry so much about the viewer count and don't let it affect you. That's the big thing.
A lot of people will say consistency is key. But if you don't have a consistent, like not necessarily personality, but if you don't have consistent energy to where you can't bring it each stream, then that's necessarily like an issue. Like people are people, you're going to be different, but trying to be consistent, not just with your schedule, but also with your attitude and your energy, whether it's 1 or it's 10 viewers, is important.
5th point, have something different. Just something different. Prime example, father-son gaming, genius, brilliant.
I remember when that first came out.
Brilliant idea.
That's why you see so many like people playing like older games. And when they're playing these older games, they're doing it in interesting ways, speed running them, or doing a run blindfolded, doing a run like 100%, doing guides. You can make a run that's done before, or you can make like a new guide to something for a game that's already been well since played, but how you play it is just as important as like being like high up on the category or like being on the 2nd or 3rd row. How you play something can make someone pick your stream over somebody else's stream. That's the thing. It's like if you see somebody, or even on viewer count, you have the same things, you both have webcams, mics, things like that. What do they pick your stream over someone else's stream? Do they pick your stream because you're entertaining? Do they pick your stream because you're doing a Elden Ring run on the DDR pad? What is it? And so if you don't have anything there, are you really good at the game? Like better than a lot of people? And maybe that's the difference, but you got to have something that sets you apart.
Now, I know I'm going to get this question. Tim, I don't have anyone in my channel. How am I supposed to talk to someone and be interactive if there's no one there? Here's what I did. Literally, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I did when I had 0 viewers. And this is the be talkative part.
Talk yourself.
Maybe this plays into sort of my personality, but here's what I do. I would just always be talking. Always. I would just always be just talking
ABCs.
about something.
Always be talking.
Whether it's gaming, whether it was my life, and then randomly, here's the thing: people kind of pop in and out of your stream more than you think. The viewer count only refreshes every 30 seconds or so. So like someone may just pop in for a split second, just see you sitting there quiet, just kind of like, and then they're like, well, this isn't very interesting, and then they leave.
Streamer boy.
As opposed to if I'm talking like if you click on my stream and I have 0 viewers and randomly you hear, and that's how I stopped World War III. I'm a little bit interested now. I'm like, okay, apparently this person stopped a war that I didn't even know happened.
He's a crazy conspiracy theorist. I'm watching.
Consistency. Consistency is a big deal. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Consistency. Tim, what do you mean? I mean, get a set stream schedule so people know when.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, guys, at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 11 a.m. Central Standard. I'm here for you. Hot take, too. Lurking is not meaning as much as it used to anymore. More and more, they're making it to where your lurk does not count. It used to be you could host, you could lurk in a channel. Then they limited how many you can view in, which is understandable, like lurking in 17 channels. Who's that helping? But now even more so, like if you lurk for too long, it won't count your view.
So when I got raids, I went nuts, man. I went nuts.
Raiding is
dancing,
great.
Turned some music on.
Raiding is great.
One time BBG.
And my one thing with raiding, though, for those of you who aren't super experienced with raiding, it's super hard to know how to handle it when you get raided. I did this for a while, and it's super awkward and super cringe. It's probably the cringiest thing I do, and I do a lot of cringy things. Please just talk about yourself and tell people why they should be interested in your stream. I'm not saying like, hey, unfollow that previous streamer and follow me, but I'm saying people are there because they were told, likely by that other streamer, that you're a good streamer or they enjoy you. So give them the time of day, give them the time of day, but explain that what your stream is about first. Once things have settled and stuff like that, be like, oh yeah, what were you up to? But like, make it about you. It's okay to make it about you. That's what raids are for. It's a selfless act done by somebody else, and you should be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish. Stop not being selfish.
Another good buddy of mine who helped me get on the map, BBG. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that the soda poppin' mod? I actually don't know anything about that, but I remember like soda poppin' and Timthetatman were actually the two first streamers I watched. Geez, over 10 years ago now.
I would say, I just thought of this on the fly. I think this is the 9th point. If you're doing something that you notice pulls more, for lack of a better term, more viewers, like you spike from 10 to 25 when you do this, do that more. Play to your skills, play to your advantages. I remember when I first started
yes, mental health willing, do the thing that made you popular, and keep doing it. The exception being, if you got 11,000 followers for playing Undertale on TikTok, don't keep on doing that shit. You'll go batshit with how crazy that community is. Dear fucking Lord. Bear with me on that. It's I've gone viral twice. It was once during the time of it was a game that came out later on. It was the early release of a game called Spellbreak. I went viral during that period, and I was pulling a good amount of viewers. This is on a different channel anyways, but pulling a good amount of viewers. And that one, I honestly stopped playing that game just because I really wasn't interested in playing it anymore. Like battle royales that were already kind of like tough for me to keep on playing. But I went viral for playing Undertale, and dearie me, I wish I didn't sometimes.
And I think like the top streamer in Counter-Strike Go would probably have 600 or 700, and then there'd kind of be me, or there'd be someone with like 100 or 80, and then there'd be me with like a solid 50. So that's how I started to, you know, get noticed, was in Counter-Strike. And then when I swapped to Call of Duty, I had a little bit, I had, you know, dedicated Tatman Army stay with me.
Know when it's time. It isn't something that, you know, it's hard to master and understand. Know when it's time to switch from the category that you're playing. Like, know when you've plateaued in the current category you're in and how to switch over to a new category. A certain amount of people will stick around. Some people will leave, but it's good to know when you sort of reach the max amount of reach that you're going to reach in a certain category, because there is a limit. At a certain point, people who are going to watch you are going to watch you, and the people who aren't. So
that's pretty much what I got to say. Just keep on. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be dry times, but in the end, if you love games and you love people, I think Twitch is the place for you, for real.
I think, like he's saying, in reality, Twitch is a space where you can grow with it. You don't have to have it all figured out right out the gate. But also, try your best. More than anything else, is just find your place. Find your place in Twitch. That's great. Yeah, I feel you, and I have some discussions about trying to pinpoint our brand and energy. Honestly, I think if you can have a lock on what your brand is and what you bring to the table, and if you can do that for yourself, but if your community can help you figure that out because they're locked into what you're doing, it helps you leagues beyond so many other tips than you believe. Because what you bring and what you have is kind of like, it's not going to change. Like, either you have something to bring to the table or you don't. But your community can help you define like how that matters or how that matters to them. And if you have people who can be critically honest with you as far as like what they like, dislike about your stream, I think there's an issue. Like, I'm gonna give a harsh truth. Another difficult thing about streaming is that too many people, when you're first starting streaming and things are small, too many people are too nice. They're too nice to you and they won't tell you any hard truths. And I think that's wrong. I think that people need to be more honest with their community members when asked. Don't just be like, hey, by the way, your stream is shit because this reason. But people are too afraid of that criticism. But also, when people ask for it, people aren't honest. Sometimes they don't tell you the truth. They just tell you what you want.